Yeah, Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Does anybody have any additions or deletions for the agenda? No? Okay. And claims, did everybody get a chance to look at claims? Yeah. Can I get a motion to accept claims?
I'll make a motion, we accept claims.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting? August 3rd and August 13th?
Yep.
Can I get a motion on the minutes from August 3rd and August 13th?
I'll make a motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And department reports, clerk treasurer.
So I do have down there at the end, I think the July bank recs, they're finished. So if everybody wants to look at those, sign off on those. Office closures for this month. Wednesday, the 19th is the construction meeting, correct, Simeon?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be closed possibly till noon that day. The 26th and the 27th, I have a webinar at 10 a.m. both those days, so it'll be a little bit late opening on those days. And that's all for August. On the agenda, I have budget meeting listed. If you guys, I know at the last special meeting, I handed you guys out some numbers and all that. If you guys wanted to deep dive into that. And then also I was thinking during that time, if you wanted to not only go through the budget, but I mentioned wanting to try and get the salary ordinance done at the same time this year. So to work on that as well. And then I know you guys had discussed looking at employee evaluation type thing for raises and stuff like that. I know that individual evaluation can be done through an executive session. And then also with the new handbook, if we want to go through that as well, and that could be in an executive session. So if you want to put those two together and have the executive session and the meeting afterward, if you guys got some dates in mind. Also on the agenda is the Benton County invoice number 8. It's just a request for approval to pay upon those EDA funds being deposited. We also have Ingrid's here. She can speak on it if you guys got questions about the site lease. So Brian Berry came into the office a week or so ago and about the tower and some electrical things. And then I happen to mention that we still don't have that mainstream contract. So reached out to Ingrid again and they all discussed, and I think we've got something finally.
Yeah.
So if you guys are,
That's been a long time coming.
that is that. And then we did get 3 new applicants for the town position. And they are in this folder, they're on the top, and then the ones that you guys have seen before are in a paper clip there. If you guys want to look through those, and then interviews also, I believe, can be executive session, correct? If anybody wanted to set up that as a council, or if you guys were going to take that on as liaison. The mosquito spray, just to give you guys an update on that, I spoke with Phil, let him know that that was approved, and he stated that he believed that there's probably enough on hand still to finish out this year. So I did also let him know that the larvicide, though, to go ahead with that, I have not heard back on getting information to purchase that. But that's where we're at on that. I believe Preston wanted to bring this one to everybody's attention because I continue to forget, but the lagoon fence out there, it's been broke after it got ran into, and it's not being closed, and then it's broken on top of that, but just haven't gotten any information on that about getting that fixed.
Did we get quotes or anything?
I haven't gotten anything.
Okay.
The surplus list, I'd put that on there as old business, just not to forget it, but I don't have a list still yet for that. And then the park committee had put in a request to use Old Academy on 9/26, so that is a request to approve their use and waive the fee for that rental. And then the fire department has sent in, and I gave all of you guys those 2 quotes for their mask flow testing. The one that is of the lesser, they're just not an approved vendor, so if you guys go with them, just contingent on the fire department getting me all the information to put them in the system.
I know for the fire department, I know for the water, we kind of got to the point where they have specific people they use for certain things. Are we doing that with fire department? Or are we just always making them get to you?
Justin's actually pretty good about, he likes to get quotes, I think. He usually does price
Okay,
things out, so,
okay.
I don't, and it would have been over 1,000 anyway for needing that, so he's doing this
Okay.
just to get
I
those,
just was wondering.
those lower quotes.
That all you have?
That's it.
Business guest, Commonwealth.
Thank you, Tina.
Yeah.
I have some various updates and discussion items for the council and those in attendance today. My three topics are going to be construction updates on the general status for the Division B improvement project. Present three construction documents for council consideration, and then after that, just a few other discussion items to advance the project or address any other resident or council concerns. So, some construction updates. The water main has been installed for some time now, and just this last month, the water main abandonment was complete in its entirety, including all the physical line abandonment and the roadway restoration. There shouldn't be any more patches within roadways in town. The leader and setter replacement is nearing completion, but is ongoing. As with that, the restoration tends to follow about 2 to 3 weeks after, allowing for settling to occur for the soil. But with that being said, if residents happen to notice that they have either not had their topsoil restored or they've seen a good bit of settling with this heavy precipitation that we've got lately, they are encouraged to reach out to either myself with Commonwealth, the contractor directly, or the town, and we will promptly direct the contractor to restore the property to proper conditions. With surface restoration as a whole, the final restoration along South Howard Street is nearing completion. The West Benton Street sidewalk is nearing completion. Just a few minor tweaks and adjustments that the contractor has to make with the final grading. Pretty much the same with State Road 352, that sidewalk. And that drive have been poured and are near final completion. The gas station drive is scheduled to be poured later this week, weather dependent. And then finally, the contractor is currently coordinating with residents about their service line replacement, which I believe have actually already been scheduled. So those are to be taking place in the very near future. Before I proceed to the other parts of the meeting, are there any questions or concerns I can address regarding the general status?
Yeah, you said all the roads were already completed.
It should be, to my
What
knowledge.
about Howard Street? I know there were some squares of gravel.
Those, to my knowledge, give me 1 second. I was down there today. I guess I'll have to double verify that. To my
I
understanding.
haven't been down there for a few days, so.
Okay, yeah, let me verify that. So the water main should be covered. Gosh, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Thank you, Tina. Yeah. The water main abandonment is complete, so there's no reason that it shouldn't be restored. I will say that. Are there any other items about the status? Anybody?
Yeah, what about the separation? Are you gonna talk about that?
Yeah, I was gonna talk
Okay.
about that. Yeah,
All right.
that's right, yeah. Excellent. If there's nothing else about the general status, I will move on to the action items, which include reconstruction documents to present. The first two are both SRF disbursements. They are summarized in that top memo and then included, I shrunk down the actual printouts. Believe it or not, it's still a lot of paper, but, I got rid of the tables at the end, so, to try to minimize the amount of paper, but these two SRF payments align with the month of June and the month of July, which, correspond to the contractor pay application number 13 and 14. Both months consisted of predominantly meter replacement and setter installation and verification. More specifically, water main abandonment was completed in the month of the July pay application. After we finish the meeting, I will go verify South Howard Street, and if the surface is not fully restored on South Howard Street, we'll probably track that as a punch list item, so the contractor won't get retained until something like that's complete. But outside of that, I think the general items to note are investigation and meter replacement for those 2 months. I guess, are there any questions or things I can go into further detail about for the last 2 months of work and how they correlate to the prices displayed? Okay. Excellent. The last construction document I have to present is change order number 6. This change order does not add or remove any value from the project. It just simply reallocates funds within the LSLR umbrella to pay for the verification efforts in the month of July. This is essentially an SRF requirement for the contractor to be paid for the verification efforts and so forth, an original line item on the contract document. Those properties are listed and the verification amounts are included. Once again, it's a net zero change in LSLR contract value and total contract price. Are there any questions about the specifics of the change order and the workings of it?
Was this,
Yeah.
this wasn't sent with the disbursements, was it? The change order?
I think it was maybe sent right afterwards. But once again, if it's not on the agenda for some reason, we can send it for the next meeting. Yeah, it should have been a much smaller document than the past order. There's nothing else about the construction documents. I'll move on to our final genre of discussion, and that involves the upcoming meter replacement works. I think, big picture wise, there have been some conversations about some of these remaining offenses that have somewhat atypical metering styles. And I think the intent behind having this discussion is to try and streamline the past discussions that have happened at council meetings, and then also some discussions that Commonwealth has had with both Tina and Ingrid to try to establish a streamlined path forward with some of these various styles of metering. So please feel free to chime in at any point, but I'm going to go through them one at a time and see if we can establish a consensus on how to proceed with these so that we can direct the contractor and advance the project. So the first atypical style of metering is shared meters. So for that meter replacement, the intent is to eliminate all 100% of the shared meters within the system. We've identified the procedure for doing that by installing an extra meter for these residents. So if possible, are you guys able to confirm that that is the direction that the town would like to proceed with that specific type of metering style? Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys very much. The The second type of metering style has been talked about briefly, but it has to do with meters that are currently inaccessible. And these primarily refer to inside meters. And the proposed or recommended direction from Commonwealth is to relocate these standard customer meters from inside to the outside in meter pits so that they're both more accessible for the utility and prevent risk from a meter that's not accessible. There's a few side notes and caveats to this as we've begun to look into it a little more. When there are oversized meters, it tends to make more sense to leave those meters inside due to the more advanced and sophisticated plumbing it takes to support a larger meter. These are all commercial properties. These aren't residents that have these. It would be something like Bottle Works or maybe property within the town square. So that's a caveat that we noted. And then we also noted for a delicate and careful approach to how we abandon these interior meters. If it's something that residents are willing to cooperate with, the contractor will go forward and properly abandon it. But if it's not, then we are looking into utilizing a transfership in the belonging of that meter from the town to the resident. So before I go too much further into that, does that general concept make sense? And does the council see value to this recommended approach for relocating indoor meters?
I think we need to be relocated.
I just didn't understand the last part about abandonment, and
Sure,
so I
Absolutely.
can't say whether I agree or disagree
Yeah.
since I don't understand.
of course. Let me try to
I mean, like, if you abandon it, why does anybody need to have access?
right. Oh,
Because it's
yeah,
not-
nobody.
It's not being useful, right?
Yep,
And
yep.
they'll have a new one that's not
Uh-huh.
inside, so,
Absolutely.
okay, I
The,
guess I
of course.
just,
Yeah, no, let me try to, and I'll try to do a better job. So when the contractor goes and installs the outside meter pit, nobody needs to go inside anymore. But the forethought of this was that a meter, an old meter like that, at some point, maybe not tomorrow or a year from now, but 20 years from now, could become a weak point or a breaking point within someone's plumbing. So the intent is to say, okay, while we're doing this process, let's install the makeup pipe necessary so that there isn't a break down the road.
so you basically just circumvent that, just
Yep.
go, I mean, I guess I assumed you would do that when you put in the new meter.
Yeah,
so-
yeah, and that's what we'll do, and that's what the contractor will do
Okay.
when they have access. But there's just gonna be a few scenarios, unlike outside meter pits where the contractor can access it without any property, concerns. It's different when they're trying to access inside of the
Okay.
house, so it's just a different barrier that we wanna make sure that we delicately approach as we do
Okay.
this. But anytime a resident is willing to provide access, the contractor will do.
Okay, I got you.
Chime in real quick. So basically the trade-off is let our contractor in there to cap off the old meter, or if you're not going to cooperate, then the
You're-
risk is
you're
your
assuming.
baby. Yeah.
Okay.
And we're going to transfer that back to you since you won't cooperate.
Okay.
It'll be
That,
your
that makes
expense.
sense. It's a this or that situation. Okay, great.
So
Thank you.
there's some benefit to
Sure.
doing all the contractors here. That was great.
Absolutely, thank you,
I got
Ingrid.
a question.
Yes, sir.
Our building has our meter inside,
Mhm.
it's got the neighbor's meter in our basement.
Gotcha. I was actually just about to get to that next. So for those properties, does yours share a service line and then split, or are they?
No,
is that-
I think it's two separate lines coming in.
Yeah, well, I think you're 114 East Nathaniel Street or 118.
118.
Yeah, so those ones we're planning to relocate those meters outside regardless. And then,
Now, is their water line gonna go through our basement, or is it gonna go around into there?
we're still evaluating those properties, but if we were able to, with the existing, spacing in that alleyway, then the preference would be to avoid having it go through.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it would be nice to not have it. Well, so,
So
understood.
like you were saying, so Chico would get a new meter outside and
Yeah.
then he could say, you can come in and do what's needed to
Yes,
circumvent, go
yeah,
around. And then that way, there's no chance of something happening 5 or 30
yeah,
years
that's,
down the
yeah.
road. And you would do that at this point. Okay, great.
Yeah, the contractor.
Okay.
So, yeah, the final caveat to that is, or final, I guess, side note to the meter relocation is there's select properties, especially in the town square area, that either have wonky customer service line routes or they have inside meters, but there's a shared customer service line. And we are proposing to separate all of those so that, long story short, each resident has a meter pit accessible from the right of way that the utility can easily access. So all of these side notes just kind of are enforcing that we can provide that meter location and have residents maintain their service. So does that, are there any more questions or things I can go into detail about with our meter relocation right now? Okay. Gotcha. Well, if there are and you think of them, just feel free to stop me at any point. But I'm gonna jump down to, I'm actually gonna go down to number 4 first. I think that flows a little bit better. And this was an item, split utility service lines that we had noted throughout the construction. And after evaluating the current like status, health, and hydraulics of these shared utility service lines, we are prepared to recommend that those remain the way they are. To better explain what these mean, every resident is going to be getting their own meter pit and meter outside. But there's some times where on the water main, there's one tap that splits off into 2 lines and then goes to 2 different meter pits. Technically, in a perfect world, each meter would have its own tap off of the main. So that's where the discrepancy is that we were looking at. But after we compiled and analyzed and looked at all the utility side service line, not customer, but utility side, the health of those service lines appear to be very healthy and strong. And the hydraulic impact of a splitting service line is pretty small. And the consequences and implications of separating those would require extensive sawing and cutting of roads. So the recommended solution is that all the meters are separated, all of the meters are relocated outside, but we essentially stop the work once we're at the meter pit and we don't go all the way back up the road.
So why is back in? It goes out to the main line.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Does that give them enough pressure and all that?
Yeah, and that's, we looked into that and, unfortunately, almost actually every single utility service line that we come across is 3/4 inch. And for reference, the larger pipe size, the less head loss there is, which means that it's less of a hydraulic impact than having gas split. And furthermore, even in the few areas that we've come to know as the older parts of town, those utility service lines have stood the test of time. They're very favorable, slightly acidic soil that favors the preservation of copper pipe, which is what all the utility service line is made of. So we looked into that and we think that even though there's certainly small benefits to separating, we don't think it quite justifies or outweighs the extensive restoration efforts it would cause. So is there anything I can clarify on that further or questions I can answer?
I think you did a really good job.
Yeah.
I understand it.
One, thank you. All right, I still have one more to go, so
Don't get excited.
So I started with those 3. We're gonna report those to the contractor and allow them to advance them with some of the final stages. This last item we're gonna talk about isn't something that is quite as dire as that. We don't need an answer on this, but we wanted to at least formally bring it to your attention for consideration so that perhaps at one of the next council meetings, there can be some direction on it. But there are several properties within town that operate with a, trying to think how I want to say this. So there are several, there's really only two properties in town. There's an apartment complex on Howard Street and a multi-unit building on South Crown Street. And these buildings have inside water meters, which, as we discussed earlier, we want to relocate those outside, but there are a lot of them. There's 6 inside meters at the Howard Street apartments. And most of the time when there is an apartment complex, there's one master meter outside that's used for the utility to track total water consumption. And then the property owner is responsible for the sub-metering or shared metering, whatever method they decide to use. The reason for this is there's, once, as we said earlier, for the inside meters, there's risk to having water meters inside that are inaccessible, and there's ownership risk of owning all the way up to that as opposed to a master meter that's located outside. So when we noted these two properties, we began to investigate as to whether there was a standard ordinance for how properties with, multiple units are metered, and we found that there's not necessarily a consistent defined metering method for multi-unit properties. So we're essentially proposing that the town considers adopting a ordinance that clarifies the metering method for a multi-unit building that has multiple meters. And for the reasons I outlined earlier, it provides benefit to the utility. And then I guess before I go a little bit further into that, does the general concept of a multi-unit building make sense? Okay, understood. The exception we would note is a duplex where there's only 2 units. That's fairly feasible for there to be 2 separate meters to either place. So while we haven't necessarily, finalized this, we just wanted to bring it to your attention and see if this would be something that the town would consider for the long-term health and risk management of the utility.
I guess my other question would be, do we know if the meters are actually inside each apartment or within a common area of the inside of the complex?
So my understanding, it's, I don't know about the Crown Street one, but the Howard Street one, there is a common area that the utility currently has access to. So yeah, to be fully transparent, the utility currently has access to the Howard Street meters. This is something that we think would, possibly transcend current ownership and current, even town utility workers, to the point where if there ever were to be something in the future, there would be more clarity to having it located outside. But to my knowledge, there is a shared space for it. I don't know about the Crown Street property though. And I think, the course of action would be, if this is something that the town is interested in pursuing, then there could be, I guess there's levels of interest that could be expressed. It could be something for all future properties and not something that we, apply to these current ones, grandfather them in. It could be something that's applied to all of them. Either way, the ordinance, something that could be used to mandate that going forward or retroactively apply it for the current ones. So I won't, speak any more on it. I just want to make you guys aware. And if you have any input now, I'll gladly take that and apply it for future consideration.
Something you think on?
I will say that I know with both of those 2 properties, we've had issues in the billing department as far as questionable bills out of there. Is that, Simeon, something that, can those be manipulated by being inside?
they can be manipulated much more easy than one outside can be. If you have all of your meters coming up into a shared space, you pretty feasibly could tap in and reroute something. I wouldn't want to ever assume that people do that, but it is something that's much more feasible to do with inside some metering than it is with a master meter located outside.
I still say the master meter thing always be a better idea.
Yeah, and they'll be able to get that master and then split those off. Correct.
But as far as an idea for the ordinance, it's something to think about.
Yeah. Agree.
Wonderful. Well, that's all the guidance that I need for this meeting. So if there's nothing else, I'll give my time back to you guys.
Thank you very much for your explanation.
Of course. Thank you.
Okay, council discussion. I wanted to bring up flooding on Jill Lane and, I think the town has an obligation to make sure that's draining well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we need to call somebody in to look at that, if there is a drain there and it's plugged up or what have you, I don't know. I know Nate said, I heard that Nate went out there.
Yeah, I think at the current time, when it's still flood as it is, we can't, the guys can't see what's going on with it. And I know that they've been trying to look at, schematics that they have back at their department to try to figure out how those drain tiles and everything else kind of work. So I know that like Mr. Campbell came in, like we're still, waiting on, we also got to coordinate Matt to get out to that property as well, look at it. We spoke, there was, the culvert there at the park, it seems to be doing okay now. That's still being monitored. And then, yeah, their plan is eventually, if we get to Mr. Campbell's in the Jill Lane property, because we got to figure out why it's not draining the way it's supposed to. I heard there was potential French drain, that's there that was installed by us a long time ago, still waiting to confirm that. But it's hard to see everything in the water system, so as hopefully as.
I just want to make sure it's
Water gets
on
a little bit lower and.
I just want to make sure it's on it.
Is it?
Except for in our crawl space.
Okay.
Our crawl space is still full.
Okay.
And it's stinking like crazy with all the worms.
Okay. So I'll get with Bill on that and make sure that they're going out there this week looking at it. Trying to get the least game plan with Matt Hall.
When can we expect something to be done? I mean, this is the second time this year. I understand we've had all this rain, but why wasn't there any rainstorms put in when our area was developed?
I don't know what part of that one was developed, unfortunately. So I'll talk.
This isn't gonna get swept under the rug like the dog
No.
issue on Jill Lane last year.
No,
Because the dog issue that we had on Jill Lane last year got swept under. And we're still dealing with that with our soup plant. I know that's a separate issue than this, but I just don't want this water issue to be swept under.
no, it's been a conversation we've had the last couple of days.
Because our driveway is still flooded, we still have to go through water to get to our unit.
Yeah, like I said, I'm getting before tomorrow, and we'll discuss that. You have two properties, your property, which is still in dire need, absolutely, is probably number one. And the other one, Mr. Campbell's property, he was talking about some
That's-
various issues.
Harry Lane at the end of Harry.
So, yeah, it's all my kind of that area that needs to be looked at.
It's that same water, actually, because I went up and I
We
went
talked
by your
about it,
lane.
it's draining fine on the east side of the road, for some reason, we're not able to drain from the west to the east side.
Yeah,
To get to the Sam Brown ditch, we're talking about where all that kind of flows, where all that kind of drains down to. So, yeah, this is a discussion that we were having, and then we just work on the road, I can promise you.
Yeah.
We did PR something like Nate said over, Todd's whole driveway and head it down, but.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, we can, I can see what kind of pumps they have and see if we can get something up there and try to get something done. That's a conversation I have with them tomorrow. You said the water level's down now, or they can see what's going on.
For the most part, most of it's on.
Then I'll have them get up there as soon as they can, first thing tomorrow. As soon as I check stuff out, okay?
I start rain on Wednesday, so.
Yeah, that's.
Well, so tomorrow will be a better time than Wednesday. So I'll make sure they get over there tomorrow, okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
Applicants. I know you and Nate are gonna interview. You wanna get together and get a date for that?
Yeah.
Get going on it? Okay.
I'll see if they'll respond when they text me.
Pardon me?
The Olympics, I'll still respond by text to the Olympics.
I said the 11th.
Yeah, I can't Olympics. for this week.
Okay, is there any public comment? Do you have any public comment?
Old business.
Frank Shade.
Wait, not gonna stop you. All right, no comment. We'll go to old business. Okay, we don't have a list yet for the surplus item. We're still waiting on that. And then, does anybody have any idea about the budget meeting? And salary ordinances for the dates, and go over the employee handbook,
The employee
salary, evaluations. Yeah. Sounds like a lot. I'm open.
I'm open to
Put me on
time.
that. Next week,
Who's checking?
I'm sorry, what's up?
do you have any dates in mind for that budget session where we're gonna go over the budget and handbook and salary ordinance?
What would you think?
Anything, I'm open, so,
I'm pretty well open as long as we can do it closer to anything after, close to 7.
okay, we'll do some.
Yeah, but I'm pretty well open.
Do you have any dates in mind?
As long as we're doing it before the 11th, because that's when it has to be.
So do you want us to do it sooner rather than later, like next
Yeah.
week?
Can you fire off a text to me and see what's good for him?
Yeah, we'll try to do it next
The
week.
more, the merrier.
Are you guys available next week?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it next week.
Yeah, I would say next week is it.
Okay, any day in mind? Pick a day.
It doesn't matter.
Do Monday?
Monday.
Okay. 23rd, 24th,
Okay.
23rd, 24th.
Do you guys want to have an executive session and then a budget meeting?
Yeah, just do
Yeah.
an executive session, go over the,
And 7 p.m.
7 p.m., yeah.
7 to 7:30 for the executive. Okay.
Okay, we'll go on to new business. Everybody get a chance to look at or talk about, I know we talked about the Benton County invoice number 8. I don't know what the totals are. It's like two.
So this is the EDA portion that's going to go with the payout. That's the portion that goes to SRF disbursement, and then that's the retainage that gets held back, and the same thing on that side.
I didn't see 39 and 40 on them, but I assumed those were 39 and 40.
This is 38 and 39.
Oh, is it that my number?
Well, it says 39 and 40 on here.
That's really 38, 39.
I have my numbers wrong.
I need to see a number.
Oh, no, I've got 39 and 40.
I didn't find it in here.
Is it a
It's,
number?
right up here, request number.
Yes, it is. Very good.
Well, there you go.
I looked at it.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to know the page.
Yes, I looked at it, I just couldn't find the numbers. Everybody has a number.
Okay. All right. Somebody want to make a motion for the Benton County invoice number 8?
I'll have a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then SRF number 39. I'm looking here. Lost my number already. Non-SRF amount is 7,937.
I'll make a
And,
motion for that.
okay.
That's the,
How about you guys?
just so you guys, yeah, that's the EDA portion is
Okay.
7,937. And then the SRF portion is, I can't read that upside down.
51,000.
Yeah, 351,593, and then the retainage portion for this is 18,505. So if you open up that first page to the second one, it's got the breakdown for the traditional loan, the lead service line, and the EDA portion. And then, so that's the pay app. And then you've got the retainage that they don't receive until it's all final, and then the total of those together.
There's my, the breakdown for 39 and 40 for me.
Yeah.
And then, so that was for
39.
39, and then 40 should look the same, if that's easier to read on the
Yeah.
second page.
And then on 40, SRF is 158,513. And then,
That was the pay app.
Oh.
The,
yeah, 14. They don't look the same.
so it's your SRF traditional,
Mm-hmm.
the SRF lead service line, and then the EDA portion. So the total of the
Okay,
pay
they're
app.
just different apps.
Mhm.
Okay.
And well, that's the pay app, and then this is the retainage that they don't get instantly. And then that's the total of all of it.
For a motion.
Yes,
I'll
for
make a
30,
motion.
for 39 and 40.
I'll make a motion that we accept 39 and 40.
Also,
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then the park committee needs to use the facilities on 9/26.
I make a motion that we do.
also,
All those in favor?
Aye.
No, we approved those last week.
The gutters, I just gotta get with, I was gonna call Don to get, all the information. I'll need the information for the vendors, their W-9 and certificate of liability. For,
Just have them call her.
I don't know about that. Have to give her a call.
Yeah. Okay. And then the fire department mask and SCBA flow testing.
I'm assuming we're getting the same stuff we're doing here with that one.
I was really looking, yeah, I was really trying to look it over because I'm like, that's a huge price difference between the two. And I almost thought it was because on that second one on McQueen, it says 22 face piece flow test. And then right above it, it says the 12 SCBA flow test, but then on the apparatus, it has 10 and 12. Well, when you add those, it's 22. So it's looks like it's two different testings. But one test does for all of them, and then one test does for a portion. I'm really not sure, but it kind of made sense that it is the same quote. It just, that's a huge price difference between.
So
It's about
we're
half.
looking at 530 versus 1160.
It's actually 1205.
Oh, because we're gonna add that down. Okay, I see it. But we're gonna add that 45
Yeah.
into it. So 1205 versus 530. I would say the apparatus, if we're getting the same.
Mm-hmm.
I just asked that if you guys approve it, contingent on getting all their information because they're not a vendor at the moment. But
Okay. I get a motion. Okay.
Contingent on getting all the right.
Awesome.
All those in favor?
Sorry.
Okay. And then site lease agreement.
Main Street.
Main Street.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, this looks like it's 3 lines and all that.
So, where we've gone sideways is we've gone around in circles. So you guys had an agreement with Main Street in
This wasn't right.
2022. That was just for road cuts while they were installing. You guys didn't have one for the actual water tower. This one's for the water tower and also tracks the other agreements that the other towns use in Benton County, so everybody should be on the same page now. I didn't put any addresses. I talked to Brian Barry about this, so when you guys switch town halls, just let them know that you guys have switched locations, and then that'll be it switched over to the new town hall. So that's what it's about.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Obviously.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any around the table concerns?
I did just text Bill and told him priority number one was tomorrow morning. After the meeting, I'll be happy to give my phone number so that if you don't see them sometime, mid-morning, you can call me. So make sure I'm fine there. I'll have to go drive them there, okay?
Yeah, nothing. So somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a-
All set.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.